You just speak to truth. The number one thing that people struggle with is bullshit. You know that. Hey, nothing's gonna change. And then like 4 months later, there's like posters for the first time ever put up in the walls of the company saying, we do it for like some bullshit corporate jargon. Like, see, that changed. Yeah, Josh, I'll be honest with you, bro. I can tell you my entire career is what you just said in the chat. All my shortcomings were being too kind and not having candor. Mine was the reverse. I needed the candor part, not the kind part. I didn't care about money enough. I still don't. I just like playing entrepreneur more. So like,
is that a self-awareness thing?
It's a huge self-awareness thing.
Yeah,
but you know, it's a huge self-awareness thing, and I had to see what was not working in my personal and professional life, and like decided that I want the next 40 years to be better than my last 40 years, you know? Professionally. I started working at 6, I say, because I did lemonade. So, you know, yeah, 100%. And it's never fun when things are working super well and you have 90% great relationships, but like, you're either trying to be better or you're not, and I wanted to be better.
Fantastic. I want to open it up to the group. I want to make sure, is there any other questions? I know we're winding down on time here with Gary. We got a couple more minutes. So any other questions from the group? I got one more, but I want to make sure that we get everyone.
Yeah, and don't be shy, group.
All right, I'm going to jump in with mine, Gary, because so I have.
Group, I'm very upset with all of you. Just so you know, I'm very upset, group. Go ahead, Jim.
No, that's fine. Please call them out on it. So that means I don't have to later on here. So,
well, you know what's funny? It's funny though, Jim, no bullshit. Like, I really think a lot about this. Like, all I think about actually is people worrying about other people's opinions about themselves. The singular reason most people don't unmic and ask a question is a subconscious belief of what will the rest of them think of the question. It's really fascinating. You know, I put out a book recently and I talked about the concept of kind candor. And I spoke how candor, ironically, Garyvee, the content producer, incredibly candorous. Some of you maybe have seen my videos. Gary Vaynerchuk, the operator, struggled with candor because I demonized it as something that scared people. And I really struggled with it for about 20 years. But then I rebranded it to myself, and now I call it kind candor because I realized the shortcomings of it. When people don't know where they stand, they actually are more scared. I used to not be as candorous because I would take on all the pressure and I didn't want people to be scared because I got it. A little bit of a superhero syndrome, right? Because that's how I did it for my family business and everything I've ever done. But what I realized is when a business has to make tough decisions and it comes out of dead left field, it actually could be extremely detrimental. And so alluding to what you're saying right now, look, I think all of us are very aware that it may be challenging next year. Like, we may actually be in the biggest era of layoffs that we've seen since 2008. That is in play. It may not happen, who knows, but it's definitely in play. And I know it's in the air, and who knows what it means for bonuses and all that. And integrating on that kind of M&A deal, I have a lot of empathy for that, Jim. That makes a lot of sense. Duplication, blah, blah, blah. Even if things were great, that's a time of changing, a lot of integration issues. I really do believe kind candor is the best thing you can do, which is speak truth, but come from incredible levels of compassion, and speak to things you actually control. So I think a thing that big executives, senior executives, leaders make a mistake of is they want to say that we're gonna be people first and we're gonna do the best we can, but they don't have the full control. And they put themselves in precarious spots if that's true, right? You know, and so.
Very well said, Gary, with that. And I think one of the things with that, you know, where do you jump in and know, like, hey, what's in my control? Because, you know, as a leader too, right, you want to protect your people, you want to make sure that you're trying to deflect anything that they might not.
So let me tell you something that I do that is insane.
Yeah.
That you all will have a better way of doing than I do it, and I still do it. Check this one out. I have no board. I'm not a publicly traded company. I have full control of the company. I have all the say. And yet I still have certain meetings with people through the last 15 years where I say, listen, Gary Vaynerchuk, the CEO of VaynerX, can't tell you without a shadow of a doubt whether this is gonna go X, Y, or Z. Cannot, even though I have all control, right? Because the economy may collapse and we may lose our 7 biggest clients in 24 hours and I may need to save the company and do a layoff. Gary Vaynerchuk, the human being, is telling you right now, Jim B, to your face, that if God forbid something atrocious happens, I am your first person and I will spend 7 hours at night on LinkedIn trying to get you on your feet. If I can do that, where I have all the control, and the person looks at me saying, what the fuck are you talking about? You don't have to fire me? What are you doing? What are you talking about? Well, then you guys can definitely do that. And so there's a level of you, the executive, and you, the human, that if you play it right and hit the right crescendo, can bring incredible value to your team. It's incredibly nuanced, and I don't even recommend it for everyone because you may not want the emotional burden, but it is a for instance of doing something slightly different than the norms of the way people do business. If you're willing to deliver on that. The reason it works for me is when I say it, which always pisses me off when I say it because then I know I have a double burden, I do it.
We definitely appreciate that, Gary. Let me ask this.
And you know what that's, by the way, team, there's such a small group here, you know what that combo's relegated to? The person you really bleed for. You can't do that for everybody, but there might be 1 or 2 people that you really, really have something with, and like you really mean it, and if you're gonna do it, really brings them a lot of peace of mind and eliminates fear during a time of uncertainty. The reason I created Kind Candor is I have absolutely watched the world use radical candor as an opportunity to not be nice. The end. Radical candor has given permission to people who do not have emotional intelligence or compassion a free hall pass to be borderline nasty at worst and indifferent at best. Kind Candor sets the tone real fast. I was stunned how quickly my organization got good at it. Even the people that I feel are not compassionate or sympathetic and are not emotional intelligence leaders, even they got good at it. They went from F's to C's, and all the C's went to A minuses, and the whole company changed. It's amazing what one word can do.
Well said.
Right, just think about it. Even think about the concept of radical candor versus kind candor. It just feels different when you even say it. So that's how I see it different, Josh. That's how it's played out for us.